Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are watching me from. My name is Samuel Elente. I'm the coordinator of Youth Impact Ministry. And today we're going to be continuing on the series that we started with 2 days ago on who you should not marry. And like I told us in the last video that it's a series that I'm going to be running on relationship talks. All right. And I'm sure that you were blessed by the last video. If you were blessed, comment, like, and share. So today we are going to be continuing on the series Who You Should Not Marry. And today I'm going to be discussing on point number 4. In the last video, we talked about 3 people that you should not marry. And today we're going to be looking at point number 4. We're supposed to look at 3 points today, but I want to dwell on point number 4 because there is a lot of subtopic that I'm going to be that I want us to also consider on that point number 4. And what is my point number 4 of who you should not marry? The kind of person that you should not marry. If you're a guy, you're a lady, you're a Christian brother, Christian sister, and you want to go into a relationship, or you're already in a relationship. Now take note of this number 4 signs. Now, you should not marry a guy or a lady that is not matured. Very important. I can't overstress this. Don't marry a man or a woman, a guy or a lady that is not matured. Now, I'm going to be talking about maturity in 5 ways. I'm going to be talking about maturity in 5 ways. Now, spiritual maturity, that's number 1. Number 2 is financial maturity. Number 3, emotional maturity. Number 4, psychological maturity. And number 5, moral maturity. Now, I'm going to explain in these 5 ways what you need to look out for to know whether the person you want to get married to, that guy, that girl, is actually matured. And if it is not matured, if that person is not matured, then it's not the kind of person you should get down with. It's not the kind of guy or lady you should settle down with. So now, let's for us to understand what we're talking about today. What is maturity? Maturity is the ability of someone that has lived, has the lifestyle, that has the behavior, that has the character of someone that is not like a baby. I'm sure you understand. Let me rephrase it. Now, at maturity, when you say somebody is matured, it has nothing to do with age. It has more to do with the mind. It has more to do with the thinking. It has more to do with the feelings, and that is why, just like what Paul the Apostle said when he was talking to the Corinthian church. And when I was a child, I think like a child, I talk like a child, I behave like a child, and when I grew up, I left childish things, and that is what we call maturity. Maturity is when you leave childish things and you now begin to do things that are more better. You are doing things more better the way you used to do it when you were a baby. Now, with that understanding, now we need to look at it in the line of relationship. For a guy or for a lady that you want to spend the rest of your life with, you need to look out for these things in the life of that guy or that lady. Now, I quickly want to talk about, let me quickly talk on spiritual maturity. Now, when you want to get married and you are marrying someone that is not spiritually matured, then there is going to be a lot of problem in the home eventually. Now, what do I mean by spiritual maturity? A guy or a lady that does not believe in godly things, is not too interested in things of God, is not too interested in reading the Bible, is not too interested in prayer. You as a lady or as a guy, you are the one dragging him or her to do morning devotion. You are the one dragging him or her to to read Bible. You are the one dragging him or her to church. and he doesn't have interest on Sundays. He sits down in the house as if he's not going anywhere. There is no zeal, there is no zest for him to go to church, to be in church on time. The godly things are not of interest to him. Even when he goes to church, he just goes to church lackadaisically, sits, in the church, without too much attention to what the pastor is saying, or to the word of God, or even to praising God, or to prayers. He takes all those things lightly. He doesn't see them as things that should be taken seriously. Now, that is an indicator, that's a sign that is not the kind of person you should marry. Now, my school of thought is this: for a lady, it is not too good for you to marry a guy that is not matured. Now, this is the reason. The man is the head of the home, just like the Bible has said. The man is the head of the home. And as the head of the home, the man controls every aspect of the house, including spiritual aspects. Now, God sees the man in a godly home as the priest of that home. And it is the work of the priest to raise altars. It's the work of the priest to make sacrifice according to the Old Testament. Now, once the priest does not make sacrifice or make the altar, definitely what happens is that the followers, will get penalized by God, just like we see in the Old Testament. And every man that is not raising an altar in his home, an altar of prayer, an altar of devotion, an altar of seeking God, an altar of drawing near to God, definitely it will affect that home. I've seen a lot of experience. I've had a lot of experience of where the man is not playing his role as the priest of the home, where it is the woman that now plays that role. And and most times I've seen that these eventually don't work, because there is a lot of, because the man is doing his own thing and the woman is doing her own thing with the children, and there is no unity in the house. And when there is no spiritual bond, there is every room for the enemy to come into such a home and eventually break that home. And that is why it is very, very important that you get married to a matured man or woman. Now, for a lady, I advise, make sure you are looking out for a matured man. If, you may say, well, it's not possible to always be lucky to meet a spiritually matured man. Spirit coco, if you want to put it that, use that language like we used to say. Now, yes, you may want to say that, but at least make sure that you are getting married to a man that has interest in the things of God. He may not be there spiritually. He may not have all the spiritual virtues that you intend to see in him, but at least there must be a zeal, a zest for the Lord in such a man. He must be a man that is willing to serve God. It's at least, just like I said in the last series, you must not marry someone that is not born again. So definitely you are marrying someone that is born again. So, but he must not be a baby Christian. He must not be a low-end Christian. He must, even if he's a baby Christian, he must be a baby Christian with the heart of maturity, with the heart to grow in the Lord, with the heart to serve God, with the heart to do the will of God, with the heart to know more of God. All right. So it is very, very important. I can't overstress this particular point. The spiritual maturity is very, very key. So don't marry a guy or a lady that is not spiritually matured. Now, let me go to the second part of point number 4. And we are still on point number 4, which is don't marry a guy or a lady that is not matured. Let's talk about just spiritual maturity. Now, the next thing is financial maturity. Now, don't marry a guy or a lady that is not financially matured. It's very important. Now, when you talk about financial maturity, now there are things that I want to quickly highlight. Now, a guy comes to you as a lady and proposes to you and tells you that I want to marry you. Sorry about that. I want to get married to you. And he doesn't have a dime. Now, I want you to ask that guy a question. For those of you as single ladies, ask that guy a question. What will you use to take care of you? Now, if you begin to have babies, what will you use to take care of your babies? Now, yeah, I'm not saying that you should marry someone that is, all okay, has cars, house, a house. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, I'm talking about someone that is matured, is financially, someone that is financially buoyant, now someone that has a job, or has a source of income. Now, it's not advisable for you to go and marry someone that does not have anything at all, that does not even have a job, talk less, or any source of income. That is not a wise thing to do. Now, moving on concerning financial maturity. Now, it is not advisable to marry somebody that does not know how to handle finance, that does not know how to handle money. Now, either a guy or a lady. Now, someone that spend, even before you eventually settle down with him, spends money lavishly, buy frivolous things that are not even needful, and you see those characters, and you see that attitude, that attribute in his life. That is not the kind of person that you should settle down with. So, no, not marry someone that is not financially matured. Now, another thing about financial maturity, don't marry somebody that cannot make good financial decisions. Someone that, he does not know when to spend money, and he does not know how to spend money. Someone that has money and, going and invest that money on things that are not necessary. Let me give you a very good example. A guy who is working and probably is blessed and is working in a good place, in his place of work, and gets a loan and go and use the loan to buy a car. Yes, I'm not saying getting a car is wrong, but for me that's a wrong financial choice. He doesn't even have a land yet, and yet it takes money, it takes a loan to go and get a car. Now, that's a wrong financial choice. Or he does not even have a place that he stays. He still lives with his parents, and he gets a loan to go and buy a car. As a wrong financial choice. So don't marry someone who financially makes wrong decisions, who cannot make wise decisions when it comes to finance. Now, that is the wrong kind of person to get married to. Now, that's the point number 4. I'm going to A, B, and C. Now, A is spiritual maturity. B is financial maturity. Now, let me dwell on C now, which is emotional maturity. Now, do not marry a guy or a lady that is not emotionally matured. Now, what do I mean by emotionally matured? Now, when we talk of emotion, we're talking about the feelings. Now, and I'm going to mention 2 critical areas where, in relationship, where a lot of, immaturity, sets in. Now, a guy or a lady that cannot control his or her libido. And, for a guy, he sees everything in sketch. Even when he's in a relationship with you, he cannot remove his eyes from another woman. That is not the kind of man you should marry as a sister or as a lady. Now, for a lady who sees, everything in trousers and is ready to throw his hands at them, is ready to give them their body. Now, that is not the kind of person you should marry. Someone that cannot control his sex drive is not the kind of guy or man that should marry, because eventually, if you get married to such a person, he will cheat. There's nothing you can do about it. That guy, that lady will cheat. Now, don't marry someone that, emotionally is still a baby. That is, he cannot control himself. He's quick outburst, in anger. That's another area. A guy that, that talks to you anyhow. You are not married yet. speaks to you anyhow, shout at you, even disciplines you, and you are not his wife yet, you are still in relationship. That's not the kind of guy that you should get married to. A woman that nags, that can't control herself when she's angry, and she shouts at you as a partner in relationship. That's not the kind of lady that you should get married to. Emotional maturity is key. Now, let me quickly talk about this. Now, don't marry a guy, a man or a woman that does not know anything about taking care of a child, taking care of babies, because eventually, as you go on in your relationship, as you get married, you begin to have babies. Now, someone that is not emotionally matured, when he sees a baby crying, begins to cry. Somebody was telling me an example of a woman, a lady rather, or I won't put it that way. Is she even a lady that gave birth to a baby and was crying? Baby was crying, and she was crying. She became tired and fed up and just dumped the baby somewhere. I said, "Oh, I'm fed up. I can't cope with this." Now that tells you that such a person emotionally is not matured, because he cannot control his feelings when he sees his baby in need of something. He feels that it's something that he cannot handle. Now, such a person you are not supposed to get married to such a person, because such a person is not married. It's not matured. All right. So these three key points, under maturity, it's very, very, very important. Very, very important. Now, I've mentioned spiritual maturity. I've talked about financial maturity. I've also talked about emotional maturity. Now, the remaining two more, it has to do with psychological maturity. Now, it's very, very important to also take note of that. Now, don't get married to a man or a woman that is not psychologically matured. Now, what does psychologically maturity has to do with? It also talks about thinking, your mind. Now, don't get married to a guy that makes or allow other people to do the thinking for him or her. He allows his families and his friends to do the thinking for him. He cannot think for himself. He cannot make decisions on his own. He has to consult his parents. He has to consult his friends, because before he makes any decision that concerns your home, he does not even consult you. Now, such a person is not psychologically matured, because he's still dependent on other people to make decisions, key decisions in the family. Don't get married to such a guy or to such a lady. Now, the fifth one, which is moral maturity. Don't marry a guy or a lady that is not morally matured. Now, when we talk about moral maturity, it has to do with with behaviors. Now, there are some behavioral patterns that some people have that are actually bad. Now, I've seen cases of where two people that come together in relationship have split just because of bad morals. Now, and I'm going to mention just some few things under this moral maturity. Now, a guy that has a bad behavior with partying, or a lady that has a bad behavior with partying, he doesn't see his family as important as going to a party. He rather go to a party than to come home and stay with his family. He'd rather be outside with his friends than come home to stay with his family. Such a kind of person is not a person that you should get married to, because it's not matured. Now, someone that has bad habits of shouting at you or raging at every slightest instance, shout down on you, rage at you, nags at you, that's a very bad behavior. Now, someone that that has the feeling of kind of of whatever I need, I must get it now. That cannot be patient with you. That's a very, very bad behavior. He always want to have whatever he wants now. He cannot even exercise patience with you. That's a very bad behavior. Now, anybody with this kind of moral immaturity is not the kind of person that you should get married to. So it is very important and very key that you watch out for these things in order to make sure that you don't get married to the wrong person. So maturity in all level is very key to enjoying and having a heaven on earth marital life. And so make sure you take note of these things. It's very key, it's very important. I'm sure you have been blessed by this, and I'm sure that someone has been motivated and inspired to make the right relationship. To make the right choice when as it pertains to marriage. All right. I'm sure you have been blessed today. The series still continues, and see you in the next video. Bye bye for now. God bless you.